Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Babe in Library. It's your girl Lisa, and today we're going to wrap up my May and June reading months. So pray for me, y'all. The reason why I say pray for me is because y'all know I'm a chatty Cathy. I could take easily up to an hour to discuss these 20 books, but I'm going to make it my personal mission to try to knock it down to 45 minutes, maybe 35. Only you will know because you're watching this video, but me, I'm going to be erasing the clock. So that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with book number 1, the first book I read in May, which was Burden of Love by Maya. Now, I had received this as an ARC copy, and so I wanted to make sure I read this before seeing her at Black Romance Book Festival. Unfortunately, I rated a 2.75. This is a hidden identity insta-lust forbidden trope, but it was less about the insta-love and more about the way in which Maya wrote this. Now, she wrote this as a high angst, high stakes situation in which a cop and a attorney are in a romantic relationship. Again, the insta-lust comes by the fact that they both don't know each other, are working on the case. They don't know each other at all. They meet each other through a dating site, and they decide to pursue the relationship immediately. Not an issue. I understand. I've actually started to take a different stance on insta-lust. My issue being that Maya wrote this as every obstacle they face, they kind of breeze by it with ease. Our detective is on the wrong side of the law, meaning that he is working as a cop, but he is meddling in all of the cases that he has because he's working for a kingpin. Now, this necessarily wasn't his choice per se. However, he's doing it in support of his family, so I understand his rationale and why he's doing it. However, he walked away from this situation with ease, without trouble, and it's not just that one. It's almost every obstacle they face. And girl, if we were going to do that, we might as well just given them a different love story. I don't like the fact that there's no consequences, there is no angry family in terms of how they got together, because our attorney's father is the owner of the legal team, and even he was like, okay, no problem. Baby, if that was my father, no, we gonna have some words, and you're gonna have to stop dating this man because you're making us all look bad. So it was just a little too easy, too convenient. Writing was just blowing past all of the real conversations that we needed to have. So that's why it didn't work for me. However, I will be reading more from Maya. I do have Cecily Her Gangster, so that is what I'll be picking up from her in the future. One of the most surprising books that I grew to love, and that's going to be Soul Crush by Gabriella G. This one is surprising because this is a debut novel. I had never heard of Gabriella G until recently. She had this series, the Soul Crush series, has been everywhere. This is the first one in it, and it's kind of chunky. It is a 4.75 read for me. It has very much touch your out of here sports romance, where our main male character is a boxer and our FMC is a newly minted billionaire. That is right. Arabella comes into some money and she is from the trenches. Let me tell you this. Both our female and our main male character, Kane and Arabella, they have gone through so much in such a short time. She is 18 and he is 21 or 22, and they have lived life. They have so much experience between the two of them. It would make a grown man cry to his knees by how much he would have to go through in order to get the amount of experience that Kane and Arabella has. For example, Arabella was a crack baby and she never had any love from her mother. Her and her father didn't have any relationship. Kane, he has a very similar situation. He had a young mother. His young mother, really depends on and relies on him. Like I said, he has a boxing career. And so what was interesting about this, it has very good mental health representation. Kane struggles with a lot of inner demons. He struggles with mental health, and eventually Arabella does as well. This has some really good therapy representation and what it is like to find your person and latch on that person to the point of codependency. So this one, I would tell you, is a very, very intensive read. You will go through this and you will be left with more. I had to take a break because I believe the second one in the series is called soul ties, and I think that is the one that I hear everybody cries at. So I need to take a break just because this was very, very immersive and heavy for me, but I absolutely loved it. We'll be continuing on with this series. Definitely one that you should check out. After that, I picked up 8 Seconds to Love by Monica Walters. This was in preparation for me getting into my cowgirl, cowboy era. This has Hurt Comfort, He Falls First, and Insta Love. I rated this a 4. This is a situation where our female main character, Harper, is going on to visit the rodeo with her cousin. She is trying to get out and away from her current boyfriend at the time, who she believes is cheating on her. And so she's like, let's go to the rodeo for a weekend. And there she meets Legend. Now, their romance is one of those instant chemistries, and he sees that she is struggling in her relationship. He's like, hey, let me be a friend for you. Let me help you out. And their relationship continues to build from there. Legend was everything that Harper needed, and I'm so happy he found her. And this was a good start to a series. If you're looking to start your cowboy era, I would tell you to start here. He is a professional bull rider, and let me just tell you, this man takes care of his woman and vice versa. She takes care of him. Very, very good book. Now, after that, I decided to pick up one of my favorites, which would be Elizabeth Stevens. You know, anything that she produces, I'm going to have to read. This is her first traditionally published book, and it is a superhero / alien romance. So this one has a lot of tropes. This has fake dating. Of course, he's falling first. He is an alien superhero, like I said, definitely. So that gives you that toucher and out of here vibe. Workplace relationship, because our female main character, Vanessa, is his publicist, and so she's his PR person, and she's trying to fight for him to go to the good team. So there's the good guys and the bad guys, and here she is running the campaign and trying to get him to take the endorsement from the good guys. And he pretty much says, okay, under one circumstance, you become my handler and my professional girlfriend. Now, she thinks, okay, I'm just going to do it just for the sake of this interaction. I'm going to do it for 3 years. And it originally started as a 10-year contract. And little does he know, he's like, oh, you're my mate. And actually, I'm going to consider you my wife. And she's like, well, buddy, we don't do that here on Earth. And he says, I don't care what you say. We got together real bad. And so this has Grump, Sunshine, found family, almost literally every single trope you can think of. Elizabeth found a way to put it in here, and I gobbled it up. Please be mindful that this has anxiety rep and PTSD rep. Our female main character, Vanessa, has very high anxiety, and it comes through on the page. And so if you are one of those individuals who can be triggered into being anxious by reading someone else being anxious, be mindful of this book, because the representation is very real, and I felt it. After that, I picked up the latest release by Ebony Liddell, which would be This Could Be Forever. Y'all, Ebony Liddell has to be the queen of young adult romance. She hits it out of the park every single time. This one is a family drama type of situation. It is interracial relationship where I believe, and I believe our male main character, he comes from Nepal. He is first generation. There is a lot that is on his shoulders, and he is trying to find his way. He is going to college, and he wants to become a tattooist. Now, his family does not agree with that. His family also wants him to be in an arranged marriage, but he falls in love with our female main character, Deja, who is a black Southern country girl who is trying to find her own way and expand her wings. She is moving from, I want to say, North Carolina to Chicago. I think that is where it's set. And when she gets there, she's on a summer intern program, and she's like, okay, the world is now my oyster. I do not want to go back home. Let me see if I can kind of celebrate myself in taking this journey. The first to step out from her family by getting a tattoo. And she runs into Raja, and there they have that instant chemistry. And when I tell you that Raja is down bad for Deja, he's like, okay, you are the one that I might risk it all for. Like, I am afraid of my parents. I'm afraid of shaming them. However, you are the person that may make me see it a little bit different. Be warned that this has very much real discussions about classism, prejudice, and sexism, because a lot of this is wrapped up in societal pressures and cultural norms. So this is going to teach a lot of young people about what it's like to have interracial relationships, and also to spread their wings and to take a step out on faith in what they believe they want for themselves. So I had to change my angle because my camera battery was dying, but we're going to pick it back up with Rhythms Blues, which was the next book that I read in the month of May. This is by Kimberly Brown, and y'all, I absolutely love this cover. It is such a beautiful cover. Here we have Rhythm, who is our female main character. This is a one-night stand, a musician romance that really sounds more messy than it is, being the fact that Rhythm, she is dating a rapper, and this rapper has been switching it up on her since he went famous. Now, Rhythm doesn't like to be in the spotlight. She owns her own therapy company. She works with elder geriatric patients, and her encounter with Channing, who is our male main character. Channing is the producer for her boyfriend. Now, this sounds, like I said, a little bit more salacious than it is, because even though he produces the music for her boyfriend, that is not how they met. She meets Channing in the fact that his grandmother is one of her clients. Now, this does have dementia representation, so I want you all to be mindful that his grandmother is currently facing dementia, and she has her lucid times, and sometimes she doesn't. However, he and his mother are her caretakers, and so he meets Rhythm by the fact that he goes to her pick up his grandmother from the Baker method. Now, Rhythm is there one day, and she is supporting his grandmother, and he's like, okay, who is this woman? His grandmother also works a little bit meddlesome, and she's like, don't you want to take out my grandson? Isn't he such a good boy? And Rhythm is like, actually, yeah, he's kind of cute, and I understand. From there, again, very innocent, they start to talk about, what ideas he can look into to support his grandmother. And from there, they kind of had that relationship going on. I really do enjoy this one because their romance is so natural and it progresses, and she really begins to get the love that she deserved. This just seems like a solid relationship amongst the two of them. Now, there is some drama at the end when it comes to the boyfriend, but let me tell you, he acts like a woman in the way that he ends up, and he's like getting ready to like slash tires and do all this other stuff. I said, oh baby, Rhythm, you didn't need him in the first place. This is a really good read. Now, the next book that I picked up was also in the music industry. That's one of the biggest things that I've been reading this year. However, this was my first DNF and only DNF for the month. And that's going to be This Side of Beautiful by Ty. I had this as an art copy. I decided to DNF this, one, because I felt like the contents of the book was a little too much for me to handle. This has neurodiversity rep, it has bipolar and anxiety rep, and a lot of that showed on page. Our female main character, whose name is Janae, she has undergone depression. She's been out of the spotlight for about 3 years. She is a solo singing artist, and she left the industry because it became too much for her. But now she has gone through, she's taken her medication, or rather she is not taking her medication. She was originally prescribed it, and she decided that she did not need it. And I think, again, that's one of the reasons why I felt like it was a little too heavy for me to read. I found myself not necessarily aligning for the female main character, and I do not think I wanted to put myself in that situation to read through that book and underrate it, because I know that this is valuable representation and that it means so much to a lot of people that reads this book. And so I decided to DNF because it was going to be a little bit too heavy for me, but I've heard nothing but glowing reviews from a lot of people. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, someone being in the music industry, someone fighting through, their hardships to find love and to find comfort in their significant other, please pick it up. It may be for you. Now, the last and final book that I read in the month of May was an absolute banger. I decided to jump on the Jacques J train by reading Capone. Y'all, I understand. I get it now. Y'all don't have to tell me because I now understand. This is big my wife energy. Very insta love. Urban romance that is done like no other. This is where you have Aaron and Capone. They run into each other by happenstance. Aaron is a bus driver and she is en route. She meets one of her past lovers who had been incarcerated and was back out. She meets him and she's talking to him. And what she doesn't know is that he is now married. And the person that he is married to has a brother-in-law, and that brother-in-law immediately sees her and falls head over heels. He says she is going to be my wife, and fortunately or unfortunately for her, he runs the street. He is the kingpin. He is literally capo, and he's like, okay, immediately, yes, let me find a way to get in her orbit. So he shows up and he's like, hey, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go on and we're going to be together. And he has that charm. The thing that I love about Capone is he does everything with intention. He cares for his people. His heart is so big. And he lets her know, Aaron, you and your family are now mine. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be there to support your dreams, whatever you need. I want to give you the world, and I want you to know you don't have to be alone anymore, because it starts off where Erin is dropped into the hands of her aunt because her mother and her father are no longer with her. There was a traumatic experience that happens at the beginning, and she has always had to have it on her own. She has had to become the adult for her little brother. They are, I want to say 15 or 16 years apart. And so far, she has had to do everything on her own. Capone comes in, he says, no more. You don't have to do a single thing by yourself because it's me and you against the world. This is fantastic. I'm going to tell you, I read the entire series. We'll talk about Capone 2 and Capone 3 next because I had to run through this particular set. Want to be mindful that this has stillbirth representation and sickle cell representation. So if that is a trigger for you, please know that it is on page and you need to be aware of that because, again, we want to protect our mental health. So that was the reading month for May. Now, rolling right into June, I'm going to tell you, I read The Love Syllabus by Lauren Lacey. I had an art copy. Lauren Lacey is the genius behind the Black Romance Book Festival, so I needed to make sure that I read and recommended her book. This one is a nanny and billionaire romance set in a small town. It has that love after divorce or love after tragedy. Both of these characters are in their, I want to say their 30s or 40s. They both have been married. One had a tragic end to their marriage. The other one had a terrible husband. And so they have a slow burn romance because, again, she is the nanny to his children and they really want to set the foundation and they want to keep it all professional. However, it does have a fake dating trope. So ultimately they wind up loving on one another. And I actually really enjoyed this one. I gave it probably about a 3.75. One thing I can tell you about Lauren, she is going to write the book. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be slow. And then she's going to get towards the end and she's going to hit you over the head with information. And it's at that point, it's a race to the finish line to be able to capture all of the drama. She pretty much, like I said, slow burns it all the way through until it is ready for it to kick off. There is domestic violence that is represented on this page. So if that again is the trigger for you, that is something you want to be mindful of. After I finished that, I said, yep, it's time. It's finally time. I'm going to do it. I picked up my favorite book of the year so far. This is My Roman Empire. I promise you, I don't think it gets any better than this. And that's going to be Can't Get Enough by none other than Queen Kennedy Ryan. Y'all, this book is my whole heart and soul. Like, I loved Hendrix from the first moment I saw her on page. And then I was like, okay, I can't wait till we get to the end and we get to get her book. I think Kennedy knew what she was doing by putting this at the end. This was everybody's, one of their favorite aunties, literally auntie status. And she doesn't switch up on us. Hendrix is still that girl from the beginning to the end. This one is everything and more. I will tell you that this has billionaire male main character. Our female main character does not want kids. It does have Alzheimer's representation, but it balances what is it like to walk through life and be very clear in your goals and your dreams and your aspiration. How society in America always tells you what you're supposed to aspire to, and this is defying those expectations and soaring. Both of these characters find each other at very pivotal points of their lives. Hendrik is a very strong, solid woman, and she is intentional about what she wants. However, she knows that she needs partnership in order for her to weather the storm of raising her parents, and she finds that in Maverick. Now, unfortunately, at the time she meets Maverick, he's actually with somebody, and you would think, it ain't no way Kennedy Ryan is doing a cheating trope. She's not. She's done it before, but that's not what this is. Maverick is actually ending his relationship with Hendrix's business partner. And at the time, Hendrik does not know that. So there is a little bit of tension because this raises the question of whether or not Hendrix broke girl code or not. And I want you to tell me in the comments below, do you think she broke girl code by getting with Maverick? This is really, again, one of those situations where it's like, what does society tell you versus what your heart tells you? And that's exactly what this story gave. Needless to say, it's 5 stars. Honestly, I've never given a 6-star, but if I did give one, it's going to be to Can't Get Enough. After that, I had an ARC copy of Shadow Obsession by Evelyn Leigh. Now, this one is a dark rom-com. This has a stalker main male character who actually is stalking our female main character because he's working with somebody that is trying to put a hit out on the mafia. And this one is more rom-com than dark romance. I do want to preface that by saying our female main character, Deidre, is a mafia princess, but it's more emphasis on the princess and not the mafia. She doesn't like what her family is doing, and she is trying to break the mold. She wants to go legit, and it just so happens she is in a bidding war for a whiskey distillery location, in which the competitors that are vying for this property is the employer of Cesar. Now, Cesar is a private investigator, and he has been put on the case to find out all the dirt he can about Deidre. But in that, he starts to fall in love with her, and he's like, actually, I don't think that I want to give up any information to them. And I am going to weasel my way through, and I'm going to send her text messages. I'm going to make her fall in love with me. Not on anything that's nefarious, on the fact that I just need her to know who I am. This is a masked man. He doesn't want her to see his face, not only because he's digging up dirt on her, but also because he's a scarred hero. And from there, he says, okay, I am going to have this cat and mouse game with you. I'm actually going to break into your house. But when I break into your house, I'm going to cook you dinner. I'm going to wash your clothes. I'm going to do all the things that I would if I was your man. Because he is very much giving chocolate lab energy. I won't say golden retriever because, again, this is supposed to be dark. In my personal opinion, it's a light gray, but I very much enjoyed it. I gave this a 3.5. I love that this had Dominican and Puerto Rican representation. So if you're looking for something that makes you laugh out loud, that has high spice and a lot of comedy, I would tell you the Shadow Obsession. Now, like I told you, I had to finish the Capone series, so I read Capone 2 and Capone 3. I won't tell you much about them, but let you know. Book 1, that was just the tip of the iceberg. That was like, oh, this is cool. I get the hype. Book 2 and Book 3, we are cooking with gasoline and kerosene. When I tell you that the fire is on high with those 2 books, There is hurt comfort, there is found family, there is quite a bit of revenge, and it's a damn good time. 5 stars to both of them. After that, I read King of Ash by S.A. Cosby. I actually got to see S.A. Cosby when he came to St. Louis in June, and I'm going to insert a clip to let you all know just how funny this man is. So let's go ahead and check that out.
Think about my brother, because I do have a brother, and they're like, you know, y'all get along? And I'm like, I only kill brothers in books. I mean, my brother's No, I think for me, family is so fascinating. I think family is our formative sort of, you know, milieu that creates us. You know, nobody can hurt you like the people that love you, and nobody can love you like the people that care about you. And so family is all of that, you know. And you know, when you talk about siblings, you talk about, like, my brother and I, we used to always fight as kids, but be like, you weren't supposed to say anything about him. Like, I can say whatever I want about my brother. You better not talk about him. And so I think for me, that sort of family dynamic has been important in my writing.
King of Ashes is a family story. I will tell you that he stated that this is probably going to be his last story centered around family. This is following our male main character, Roman. Roman goes back to town to handle his family estate because his father is now in a coma and his sister has been holding down the fort. They own a cremation services. His sister has been doing it all herself because their other brother, Dante, he pretty much can't stand straight, can't function because Dante experienced something that was traumatic in his past. So now he is a drug addict and a alcoholic, and he pretty much gets Roman and the family into some trouble, being the fact that trouble always finds him. Wherever Dante is, trouble is sure to follow. Roman comes back in town and he tries to clean it up, but he winds up getting caught in the thread of what's going on in this small town. Now, there is something known as the BBB boys. They are running amok in this town. They bring guns, they bring drugs, they bring it all to this little small town in Virginia, and they lay it at the feet of Roman to say, hey, your brother got into this mess. Your job's to get him out, or else. And when I tell you, it is high stakes. If you know anything about S.A. Cosby, he is going to deliver on a crime thriller. The next book that I read, y'all are probably not going to like, but I absolutely love. That's going to be The Paramour by V.K. Martin. Now, this one I am reading in preparation to go to Chicago Urban Expo. Had never heard of this author, but this, chef's kiss, best surprise that I could have ever asked for. It does have the cheating trope, so I'm going to say that very clear. And I mean, it's from beginning to end. If that is not your jam, if you know that you're going to hate it, bypass this book, because this is a true soul tie. It has very much given you insta love, and it does have a little bit of an erotica nature. But this one, I find it very interesting because very much similar to Burden of Love, there is, our female main character is an attorney. Our male main character is a detective, specifically working on homicide cases. Now, they're not working together. However, they're always circling each other's orbit and have never seen each other until one day when our main male character, Charlie, goes out in support of one of his friends that is getting married. He sees Gloria and he's like, this woman is captivating to me. Now, Gloria is like, I'm never one for commitment, so I'm going to pursue this man just in the fact that he is interested in me. But lo and behold, they really start to develop feelings for one another. And when I tell you, this has the most jaw-dropping ending, and I hear that there may be a part 2, which I did not expect in the least bit. Y'all, if this is something that you can see past, if you're like, okay, it sounds interesting, it definitely has romantic suspense, there's a lot going on, I think that I might look past the cheating trope. Check it out, because you won't be disappointed. Next, I went into Conflicted Hearts by Kay Shanae. This one had been on my TBR, I want to say, for 3 years. This one reminds me of The Gift by Rosie Adams, in the fact that this is a forbidden relationship, forced proximity, found family situation where our female main character Sienna. Yeah, so our female main character, Sienna, she is with our male main character, Drew. Now, both of them are from a set of twins. Sienna has a twin sister named Summer, and Drew has a twin brother named Dre. And actually, they were in a relationship with each other, each other's twin. So Sienna was with Dre and Drew was with Summer. However, both of them passed away on the same day. And Summer was pregnant, Sienna was pregnant. Summer died in childbirth, and now Sienna is raising Summer's child with Drew. They're living in a household together to make sure that the boys have a female or a male parent to help raise them. Understandably, they lean on each other. They have a traumatic bond. But what you don't expect, they fall in love with one another. And it's about navigating how they feel about that, and navigating to the point where they determine that they will move forward or they're going to give up on the relationship and be able to tear the boys apart or keep them together as one happy home. Y'all, emotionally, this book can wreck you because our female main character, Sienna, goes through so much. Drew goes through so much, and they fought for the love that they have. Your Honor, the defense would like to call K-Shanae to the state for conflicted hearts, because at this point, this is a crime. This is armed hostage situation, and you must pay for your crimes. We are 91% of the way through, and at this point, we are supposed to be coasting. We are supposed to be having easy, breezy, beautiful black girl, happy and bliss and joy, because these characters have been through enough. I'm telling you right now, Drew and Sienna have been through their fair share, and you continue to pile on more. You continue to dig the dirt over us so far that we are buried so deep that we can't catch a breath. At this point, you need to pay for your crimes, because there's no reason that we should be going through this at 91%. I just want to talk to you for a second, because I'm already in shambles by what has been done to me yesterday by Vicky K. Martin in The Paramour, which I should have already discussed it at this point. But today, you decide that you're like, oh, let me double down on your pain and ratchet up conflicted hearts. Y'all, this my battery just died on my little microphone, but that's okay. This is too much. I know I'm to blame because nobody set these reading plans but me. Nobody gave me these recommendations. I actually picked up literally every single one of these on my own. However, I've got to blame someone, and it's the authors that I'm deciding to blame at this point, because why y'all got me in my feelings like this? I'm going to tell you, reading The Paramour, then reading Conflicted Heart, and today I just decided to start Harbor by Rebecca Weatherspoon. Why am I like this? Because this preceded by Conflicted Hearts. It seems like we're on the same time, and I'm in a time loop, and I just keep repeating hurt, repeating pain, repeating tragedy, repeating heartache. How is you okay? That's what I need to ask myself. So, by the time I wrap up this month, which you guys are currently watching my discussion of these books, check on me in the comments. Very, very forbidden, very, very somewhat taboo, but all in all, it works out just well. I also read Casey Mills' You Could Do Damage. This one is found family, marriage of convenience, toucher, and you're out of there. And this was one of the situations where I had not read a jealous and possessive male main character in so long. It was very refreshing. Again, gives a romantic suspense element, being the fact that Nari and Kincaid, they go through some things in their marriage of convenience where Kincaid is one man at the beginning of the book, and circumstances happens that turns the switch, and he has to be about that life, and Nori is gonna ride the wave with him. This was the first time I had listened to the audiobook narrated by our main actor named Tyrell Andrews. And the vibration of that man's voice, chef's kiss. Y'all, I really loved this one. And I do know that there is a part 2 that will come out in October. And I need to get my hands on it because this very much gives mafia elements. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Sinful Vows mixed with 181. So if you think about those two books, both of them have like a marriage of convenience element. Both of them have that mob element. That is what you're going to get with You Could Do Damage. So absolute great read. And then I will end the reading month off with Harbor by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This one is a polyamorous relationship. This one, the 3 characters, you have Shaw, Vaughn, and Brooke. They were in relationships. Vaughn and Shaw were in a relationship with Corinne, and Corinne actually cheated on them with Brooke's partner, who was named Josh. They wind up being murdered in bed together, and now Brooke, Sean, and Vaughn are left to pick up the pieces. And they happen to traumatic bond a little bit, but they wind up falling in love. And it's about navigating their relationship, getting over their hurt. Each one of them has a different reaction to each other, as well as a different reaction to what has happened to them, whether or not this is healthy for their relationship, because they are still under investigation of whether or not they had anything to do with the murder of their significant others, as well as exploring their wants and needs and desires in a relationship. One person believes that they need polyamorous to survive. Another person does not like being committed, does not want to get married. And the third person absolutely desires marriage and wants a lasting commitment with family. So this is a relationship where it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of trust. There is also a really big kid community within these pairings, and it helps them to build that comfort level, that trust, and work through some of their trauma. So Rebecca Weatherspoon absolutely knocked it out with this entire series. This is the Beard and Bondage series. This is the final one in that book. So I would tell you, if you are going to pick this up, I would read at least Sanctuary right before this, because these two, that book kind of rolls into this one really nice. I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. Leave me a boat emoji or a water emoji for Harbor. Tell me what your favorite book that you read in the month of June and or May is in the comments. Also, let me know if you thought Hendrix broke the girl code, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.